Will Dave Underwood and Mike Mitchell enter Web 3.0?
If there's, a reason for me to be involved, then I would definitely look at that. You just threw out some terms like sandbox. To me, a sandbox is like what the kids play. So I haven't even heard of that. I'm real old school. So
of course, yeah, definitely would keep an open mind. You'd have to change with the times, really. If it does happen, why not?
What's up, everybody? Walter Hooper, WA Hooper Marketing. Welcome back to Marketing Minds Meet, the first episode of 2024. Meant to get on here sooner, but, this whole aging thing and being in my mid-30s is neck pain. It's not fun. I don't recommend it. Don't subscribe to that channel. But please do subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. But I am thrilled today because we have not one, but we have two guests here on the program. These are individuals that I have had the absolute pleasure of getting to know over the years, and they have been and continue to be top tier individuals in their profession and in the world of real estate. It gives me great pleasure and a thrill to introduce to you the one and the only David Underwood of Top Flite Financial and Mike Mitchell of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Key Realty of St. Clair Shores. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Whoop, whoop.
Doing good, Walter.
Doing real good, man. Thanks for having us.
Lions. Let's get that out of the way right now.
Yep.
Hey, listen, it's been a season. We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, I would love for you, whoever wants to go first, to tell just a brief bio of who you are, what you do, how long you've been in the industry for, all that good stuff. So I'll yield the floor to you.
I guess I'll go first. This is Dave. My name is Dave Underwood, and as Walter mentioned, I'm with Top Flite Financial. I am a long time mortgage loan officer and reverse mortgage specialist. And I love what I do, and I'm still doing it after over 25 years.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, Mike Mitchell.
Okay, Mike Mitchell, Berkshire Hathaway Key Realty, residential real estate sales, Macomb County, Grosse Points, parts of Oakland County, anywhere in Michigan, really. Almost as long as the professor. I've been doing this for 20 years now, so kind of crazy. I don't know where the time went, but 20 years with the same brokerage. We changed brands a few times, but I've been with the same broker for 20 years, and still going strong.
Well, that's awesome. And as I mentioned before, these are two high quality, top tier professionals in the industry. Watching them do what they do, I've even had some professional interactions with Professor Underwood. I call him Professor Underwood. It's a nickname I've coined for him over the years, and he helped out my family immensely with a deal a little while ago. So I can't thank you enough for that. So, but let's get into what was the point in your career where you realized that this is what you wanted to do? Was there a certain point in what you did, that made you go, this is what I want to do? What was that aha moment for you?
The reason I'm laughing is because, like I mentioned earlier, I've been doing this for 25 years. And every once in a while, there's one of those days where you're like, why am I doing this? And I'm sure Mike feels the same way. Like, why am I doing this? But to answer your question, for me, it's easy. It was like in the beginning. I mean, I used to work in the corporate world. I call it the quote-unquote corporate world, working for the man. And I was actually working as an exec in the HR division for a company that no longer exists. Well, it exists under a different name, which was Rite Aid Corporation. Rite Aid is still around, but it used to be Perry Drugs. So those of you that are old enough to remember the old Perry Drugs chain. That was my last quote unquote corporate gig. I was getting beat down. They were working me 7 days a week. And I decided I wanted to try to find something that where I could, what I put into it, I got back out of it. And real estate always interested me. I talked to some people, and I figured I'd give mortgages a shot. So I actually did something else for a short term, but then I got into mortgages, and I actually started off training as a loan officer. And while I was training for the first company I worked for, I found out that there was a shortage in their processing crew. And I was, part of the training was to hang out with the processors and observe them. And while I was doing that, I figured out that's what I really wanted to do too, to learn the business. I found out that I just really caught the bug right away. So I approached the owners and said, hey, can I just do this? Can I process and train as a loan officer, do both? So that's what I did. I processed and I became a loan officer and wrote loans in the evening. So I was kind of working two jobs at the same place. And that's how I dug in and learned the business as much as I could, inside and out, and still love it to this day.
That's awesome. And for those that are unaware or don't know what Perry Drugs is, so as an I call myself now getting up to be as an elder millennial, Perry Drugs was a entity that was that coexisted with another drugstore known as Arbor Drugs, which turned into CB. Yeah, exactly. See, you get it. You know it.
Well, I was there. I mean, Rite Aid came in as a national company. Rite Aid came in and bought Perry Drugs, and CVS came in and bought Arbor Drugs.
That's right. And I remember getting my photos developed at Arbor. Oh man, good times. It was good to be alive back in those days in the 90s. Anyways, moving on. Mike Mitchell. So for you, what was your aha moment that you realized that this is what I want to do in becoming a realtor?
Oh, geez. So I spent probably 15 years in the automotive industry, from being an auto mechanic to getting into the UAW, then going into machining a little bit. And always wanted to be self-employed. That was always a goal of mine. Even when I was an auto mechanic, I wanted to open my own shop when I was a tech. Just never had the capital to do it. It's a pretty big process. Then got into UAW, had a great job going, and ended up getting laid off after 4 years. And a pretty lengthy layoff. It was about, I think, a year and a half. And I went into real estate. I went to real estate school. They paid for it, the UAW. And then my kids were young. I was trying to look at something flexible because I used to work afternoons because my kids were young, daycare issues. So real estate was flexible at the time. Still is, of course. And that's how I got into it. Never looked back. That was 2003, July of 2003.
Wow. Okay. All
Man,
right.
I never knew you worked as an auto mechanic.
I try and keep that quiet. I know.
Well, cat's out of the bag now,
I don't
folks.
want people. I'm not coming over to fix your car.
That was my next question.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I like to say in my other life I was an auto mechanic.
That's a better way of putting it, I think. Yeah. So just
honestly, I don't even change my own oil anymore. I don't even do that. So.
Well, it's so tough these days now with the newer cars.
Things have changed a lot since I left the auto tech business in '97. So, and then when the UAW, that was more assembly and machining. So,
yeah. Well, that's great. I love hearing the backgrounds and the journey to getting to where you are now. So let's move forward now to present day. The question that well, it's a two-parter. What does the forecast look like? Not weather. With Michigan, it's all over the place. You never know with Michigan. But what I'm more specifically talking about the real estate forecast, and in particular These interest rates, what is going to happen this year for the interest rates?
Magic question.
The magic question, because over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I'd say, the rates were up. I remember, being in, in professional settings with the both of you. You were always giving up-to-date stats on what was going on in the marketplace, and it just, rates are up. And so is there any sign of that, leveling out? And then, if so, how? So what is it? Are rates going to be up this year? Are they going to be down? What does the rate forecast look like for 2024?
I'm going to assume you're directing the question to me. I don't know why. I don't know anything about interest rates. Yeah, I mean, I get that question just about every day, to be honest. And, I guess the best way to put it is neither I or anyone in the industry or anyone in the world, for that fact, has a crystal ball. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen with interest rates. However, the gurus in my industry are saying that we will get a little bit of relief with interest rates this year throughout the year, which means rates will come down, but they probably won't come down a whole lot, which means people that are hoping that rates are going to come down, 2, 3, 4%, they're going to be wishing again for Christmas, because that probably will not happen. Will they come down a little bit? Yes. I feel that they will come down, but I think it's going to be gradual. I mean, January's almost over, and we're probably right where we were before the holidays. I mean, it's just been a seesaw. And since you brought it up, I guess I should say, rates are important. Interest rates are important to everyone, but they're not the most important thing when it comes to doing your financing with your home. Whether you're buying or refinancing, rates are to be considered. There's a lot of people that are getting loans, whether they're buying or whether they're refinancing, and they're doing these transactions to their benefit. So those are things that I can explain to someone if they have questions. There's a lot of things to consider. I don't know if you've ever heard the term blended rate. You want to understand that? Hey, give me a call. I'll explain it to you. There's a lot of things to look at to see whether or not you should buy a house now or whether or not you should refinance if that's what you're trying to do. And I can help you sort through that.
All right.
I think everyone just got so spoiled with those rates, right? Including, it was crazy.
Exactly. That's just it.
2.99, that was crazy at one time, right?
Yeah.
So,
the thing you got to understand is that rates are probably lower than what they should have been for a while.
For sure.
Okay, because if you remember when we were going through the pandemic era, the government was trying to do a lot of things to keep a lot of things afloat. They were throwing a lot of money out there. They were buying a lot of mortgage bonds, which was helping rates to go down lower than what they should have been. So rates were already low. We were already getting spoiled, and then we got crazy.
I know, because when I started in real estate 20 years ago, I remember rates. The average question was 6%. Everyone's like, "How's the rates?" "Oh, they're good. They're at 6%."
Exactly.
And people were like thrilled. So we're getting back to it again. It's cyclical, right?
Exactly.
That's interesting, because I know that as Professor Underwood has said, that's like the $1 million question. And, contrary to what a lot of people think and believe, it's, professionals like him and Mike, they don't have a crystal ball to be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen. It's a very, dare I say, it's a very fickle thing, right? So, but to be able to stay on top and do research and get the updates, from the powers that be in the real estate realm, and to have individuals like these two to be able to relay this information is crucial. It's crucial. And if you have any questions, you have to reach out to them.
Well, yeah, and along with that, what I do and what Mike does, we're blessed to have in the metro area some really, really good and strong professionals that do what we do. And I tell people all the time, look, just reach out to someone if you have questions, okay? A lot of people don't understand it. They're just listening to all the noise out there, right? There's a ton of noise out there, especially with the media. So between the media and your relatives that know everything about real estate, Mike knows what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? People will they try to soak that stuff in, and what you really need to do is talk to a good professional.
Right on. Now, I guess a follow-up question would be then, let's say someone's looking to buy a house for the first time. What is the most important first step in that process that you would advise someone that's looking to go down that route?
Well, you're looking at me again. I guess the first step is that they need to get, honestly, they need to get with a mortgage professional to understand what it's going to be like to buy a house, become a homeowner, and to see if they qualify. And if
Absolutely.
they don't qualify, what they need to do to become qualified. So if that's really truly a goal of theirs or a dream of theirs, then they need to consult with someone that can, say, hey, this is where you're at, and if this is where you need to be, this is what you need to do. Or it might be a case where, hey, you're ready to go. This is what we need to do.
And
Spot on. I get asked that question all the time. That's the first. My first answer is, have you talked to a lender? Have you spoken with a lender? And it's all, most of the time, no. So get pre-approved. Very first thing. First step. Absolutely.
so they get pre-approved, and I know, I've seen, through vicariously on social media, and even some people that I may know. Is it important? What's more important? Is it more important to buy what you ideally want, or is it more important to buy within your means and what you actually need? And is there a fine line in that when it comes to purchasing a house? Because there's all kinds of houses out there with different shapes and sizes. I know for someone like myself, like, I don't need a lot of space. Like, I'm a single guy. Like, I only have like just some music equipment, and that's really about
In your podcast equipment.
in my podcast
You
equipment.
got tons of podcast equipment, dude.
But that's all consolidated into. But it's like. But I understand that it can be easy to fall into the trap of, I want this $1 million house or whatever, and I go, why? Like, do you need that, or is that just something you just want? And is there a fine line between satisfying the buyer's needs versus their wants?
I think it's a good question, but I don't think there's a real answer to that. I think it's just different strokes for different folks. I mean, and that's why they need to talk to someone to help them out. I mean, it's important, obviously, to know what you can afford. I mean, but that doesn't mean you have to afford that. I mean, there's, I deal with people all the time that might, qualify for a $500,000 house, but they don't need a $500,000 house, or they don't want a $500,000 house, or their budget it's not going to make them feel comfortable to have a mortgage payment on a $500,000 house. So, but that's what, like I said, that's why they need to talk to someone, because I've had people that thought about buying a house. In other words, they, once I talk to them, it's like the only reason they want to buy a house is because their mom said that they want to buy a house, probably to get them out of their house. So I'm serious. So, they really think about it. And you'd be surprised how many people don't, and once again, I have nothing against younger generation. I've got kids that are, in their 30s. So, but, some of the younger generation don't really have a concept of budgeting. So they don't even know. I mean, for example, someone living at home with their mom, like I just said, if you wanted to buy a house, one of the things I would say is, well, have you been saving money? Have you thought about, have you rented before? Yeah, I rented when I was away at school, and then I came back. Okay, well, how much was your rent? My rent was $800 a month. Okay, well, if you had an $800 a month house payment, would that be comfortable for you? Yeah, I could afford it with my job. Okay, well, have you been setting away at least $800 a month now to see if to see how that feels? And setting aside money for utilities and doing things like that. I mean, it's basic budgeting stuff. I mean, that's basic. It goes a little bit deeper than that, but just having a conversation with someone to make sure that they understand what they're up against, that might help them realize what they want versus what they can afford versus what's comfortable for them.
That's interesting. Mike Mitchell, you got any thoughts on that?
I mean, he's spot on that. So, some people, I've had clients that everyone's different, like David said. Every client's different. I've had some where I think they're going to their extreme, in their range, but the high end. I'm like, you sure you sure this is what you want? Are you sure you can handle this payment? Because you got to make it, not me. And everyone's different. Then I've had others where, they qualify for X amount, but their comfort zone is, lower. So everyone's totally different.
Okay. Yeah. And I it's just, I think as one of you said, different strokes for different folks. And it's just, it's interesting to see, where people's, buying tendencies, like I said, their needs versus their wants, actually what they are.
The big thing is, like David, get them pre-approved so we know their budget, we know their amount. Because if they're only good to 200,000 and they're looking at stuff in 300 range, or if a realtor takes them out and shows them anything above that, they're tainted now, right? Because that's what they want, that's what's in their mind, and they can't afford it. It's not a reality. So the big thing is to talk to a lender first, always.
Right on. Absolutely. I concur.
Yeah. Well, and also along with that, if you think about it, tons of people are buying homes every day, even in today's market, which I'm sure Mike will elaborate on a little bit more. But the point is that if they go through the process in a correct manner, they'll find something. If they want to buy a home, they'll find the right home.
I like it. Yeah. And I think it boils down to personal preference. I think whether one agrees with that or not, well, is it really up to them, because they're not the ones spending the cash on it. So this is Marketing Minds Me, and so therefore we're gonna discuss a little bit of marketing here, because we have to. So for both of you, what has worked for you as far as your marketing tactics, your marketing plans to put yourself out there? Where have you seen the successes? Has it been on social media? Has it been through email blasts? Has it been through the snail mail, paper route marketing? Where have you seen your biggest successes in your marketing efforts thus far? Where do you want to improve or maybe build upon, your current marketing strategies? And where have you seen the biggest, losses in your marketing? So whoever wants to go first.
I'll take this one. Definitely social media for me. Completely changed my marketing, changed my business, to be honest. Social media and SOI, my sphere of influence, work in the sphere of influence. That's people friends of people just people in your circle. That's the biggest return for me.
Yeah, and what about you, Professor Underwood?
For me, definitely not social media, only because I'm trying to improve on that. What's worked for me, and in regards to social media, that's something I'm always looking to improve on. So that's one of my goals this year. I try to get a little better each year. So I have some things in place to try and push me to do a little bit better on social media. For me, it's Mike mentioned, SOI. My sphere of influence, networking has always worked for me, and some of the email stuff. You use the term email blast. Some of it's just email communication. One of the things I'm doing a little bit better this year is I've set myself up with some services to do a little bit more texting to my past clients. And I'm also, we actually just set up with a new platform for trying to get leads, which is something I always try at least something new every year. I usually try to budget for it. So we just started something right here at the beginning of the year, and we're starting to have a little bit of success with that already.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I social media, especially, I know for real estate, connecting with you two, and then even just connecting with other professionals in your industry, social media has kind of become, I call it a necessary evil at this point in time.
It's a good.
Like, you need it, especially with what you do, because that way it's so easy for you to share your listings. I've seen so many people share live videos of live streaming of them being at showings, things of that nature. It's just a great way for you to get your face out there and get your name out there in a completely organic way. And it really, and I know they're at your brokers, you're provided with tools, I believe, that you can utilize in house
and implement it into social media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's a huge win for both of you. Getting into now the future, I like to call it Web 3.0. I know I brought this up with both of you on a one-on-one basis, but I'm going to bring it up again because Apple has just revealed a preview of their Appleverse glasses. And so, which means the world of virtual and augmented reality I believe, is going to become even more of a mainstream stay here. So, do you envision and see either of you going into that realm and having a presence in Web 3.0, where there is a realm where, and there are platforms already set up through places like Sandbox or DSO, where you're able to have virtual listings in this new realm and having yourself put out there in Web 3.0? Is that something that you've thought about? Is that something that you're researching, you're looking into, or maybe have somebody that could help with that? Is that something? Will Dave Underwood and Mike Mitchell enter Web 3.0?
Well, I guess I'll answer first. I'm sure that I would. Do I have an interest in it? Yeah. Is the interest level real high? Not yet. Like you said, we actually talked about this a little while ago. So I kind of have my ear to the ground. I try to keep my ear to the ground to everything that's going on. And, as far as that world, I don't know what you call it, the metaverse or whatever. Yeah, I mean, if there's a reason for me to be involved, then I would definitely look at that. So far, there hasn't been, other than just trying to learn a little bit about it. Now, I mean, I'm way behind your level of knowledge because, you just threw off some terms like sandbox. To me, a sandbox is like what the kids play. So I haven't even heard of that. I'm real old school. So, and I don't know what the other one was. I can't even repeat the other one that you said. So, I don't know about all those things yet. Eventually, I'm sure I'll hear about it if it pertains to me and my industry, or whatever. I try to keep up with that stuff and learn about it. And I'm sure when the time's right, which could be sooner rather than later, then, hey, I would definitely want to know what my part would be in that.
Mike Mitchell.
So the three of us have talked about the metaverse, right? Outside of this, over a beer, we've talked about this stuff before. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a need for me to get involved in it now, but of course, yeah, definitely would keep an open mind if there's ever something. I've learned about it mostly through you, Walter, but yeah, it's great. I mean, you'd have to change with the times, really. If it does happen, why not? Why not get involved in it?
Yeah, and
I think it's a ways off. Like I said, I don't see a need for me to get involved now. I mean, read about it and check it out, but
I think even just dipping your toes in the pool, so to speak, like maybe not necessarily diving head first in the deep end, but just exploring these avenues and just seeing what it is, because knowledge is power, right? So, being able to kind of have that leg up on, your competition and being able to say to them, oh, well, you haven't checked it out yet? Oh, well, you should. And because then that way it kind of gives that, oh, okay, well, if they're doing it, then, well, maybe I should look into it. Maybe that's something. And I know, especially with a lot of people, yeah, I'll say it. It's my show. There are various professionals in my industry that don't even have this conversation with people. And to me, that shows that, you're falling behind already. Like if you're not even having these types of conversations with your clients or future clients, like, oh boy. Like if you're focused on one certain thing and you're not realizing what's going on around you, then you're falling behind already. And especially in my world and in my network, it's you can't like, you have to be on top of it, and you just have to be aware of it. So that's good. I like that you're adapt to change. Change is inevitable, people. It's gonna happen. It already is happening. So get with it. All right, now one of my favorite parts, the dark side of the show, because just like in Star Wars, you have to have a balance of the light and the dark. So here we go, diving into the dark. Mike's like, oh God.
What are we in for?
Oh, don't worry. It's not all bad. I know I posed this question before, but I'm going to ask it again to the both of you, and feel free to answer as the spirit moves you. Tell me, I want to know, and the audience wants to know, the people want to know the truth. Tell me something about what you do that you don't like and why.
You can go first, Mike.
I'm thinking, he asked
Go
me,
Lions.
Yeah. Walter's asked me this question before, and it's a tough question. It really is. I mean, of course, every job there's things that get on your nerve. Any job, I'm sure there's throughout your daily tasks, some things you don't like or annoy you. But I love being in real estate. I wouldn't be in it. I wouldn't, at my age, I wouldn't keep doing it right now. I've switched careers 3 times in my life. I wouldn't keep doing that right this long for 20 years if I didn't like it. Because a lot of people think it's what you got to do. I'm having a hard time putting this into words. So
it's okay. We got all day. It's fine.
A lot of people get into real estate, think it's going to be easy money. They see the good part of it. You're basically self-employed. You have to treat it like a business. If you don't want to get up and go to work in the morning, you don't have to. You don't have a boss. But you're also not going to make any money, right? So you have to treat it like a business. You have to have a business plan. You have to have set. Yes, the hours are flexible, but just ask my wife. I work 24/7 pretty much. We stopped doing work. We're out socially, and I'm like, oh, I got to go answer this call. I got to go answer this text. I got to send this email. But it's 10 o'clock at night. I know, but it's really important. I got to get the signature signed. So, I guess you could say that's a downside to some people. Some people don't like that. Like my wife doesn't like that part. Not about me, but like she said she could never do that. Like she likes her 9 to 5, and at 5 o'clock, she's done with work. At 5 o'clock, we're not done with work. It comes and goes. We could be done for the night, but we might not be. But that doesn't really bother me. But I think some people would have a problem with that.
Yeah, it's as you just
it's pros and cons,
right? And as you mentioned, I think to kind of zone in on it a bit here, it's because I've had the same thing happen with me where I've been out with family or friends, and then I get a text or I get a phone call or I get an email stating, hey, I need help with this, or like, hey, like this is. You gotta answer it, like you have to, or else.
Over the years, my time management's gotten a lot better, so it's not as crazy, because So I kind of set my clients' expectations. But yeah, sometimes, it's not a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
For sure.
Right. So flexibility comes at a price. Professor Underwood, what about you? What is something that you do about what you do that you don't like, and why?
Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, go Lions. No.
Oh, no.
Forward down the field.
I think for me, what I don't like are the things I can't control. And what I mean by that is, several things. And the main things that come to mind would be, one, my part of the industry, even though I work in the real estate industry, I'm on the financial services side. So we're very, very heavily regulated. And because of some of the regulations, sometimes, for example, we have loan products. We have a lot of good and great loan products that can service a lot of people. But sometimes you run across that person that probably deserves a break and they can't get it because of the way maybe the guidelines are written. I've got a tough case right now that I'm trying to work out for someone that I've just now found a source where there's a little bit of light. So, I like the fact that it's challenging, but I just don't like the fact that sometimes I think things should be easier. Everyone has mistakes or go through a hard time, and sometimes, there's certain waiting periods or whatnot, but sometimes I've been doing this for 25 years and I still have cases come in front of me. I call them cases, a client case, their situation that I've never come across before recently because sometimes our things change, our guidelines change, whatever. So maybe, 10, 15 years ago, it would have been a lot easier to help them than now. And a lot of that's because of maybe things are a little bit tighter because of, the crash that happened back in 2008, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Yeah. So, because of that, and that's another thing that I don't like about the industry is that when I say I have no control over it, part of the reason the crash happened, without going into a whole documentary about it.
That'll be another episode.
Part of the reason that happened is unfortunately there were people doing what I do that weren't taking care of the customers correctly. Okay? And what I mean by that is there were people that were, loan officers, mortgage advisors, whatever, that were putting people in loans that they shouldn't have been putting them into. I'm just going to be flat out honest. Because I was there. I was working in the industry and I saw it.
They're like Oprah. You get a loan, you get a loan, you get a loan.
Exactly. Mike was around at that time, so he knows what I'm talking about, okay? Most of those people are gone. They didn't survive, okay? That, like I said, I can't control what other people do. And because of that, when things like that happens, my industry gets a bad name. Okay, so I can't control that. All I can do is try to do right by customers to try and give our industry the proper face that it deserves.
Yeah, and especially back then, it was... So I'm going to go off of a wonderful movie that you all should check out if you haven't seen it, The Big Short.
Classic.
Oh, it's so good. But it really did a great job of really breaking down and really summarizing for the average person that wasn't engulfed in that industry of just the bullshit, the problems that were going on, during that time. And yeah, like what you had mentioned was, there were loan officers that they were giving out, loans and things of that nature to people that should not have gotten it, but they didn't care because they got the quick buck, they got the profit.
Yeah, they were doing it to make a buck, and actually back then you could make some really good bucks doing that.
Yeah, basically, if you had a pulse, you could get a loan, and now it's I mean, there's so many regulations and rules that I know that you have to follow, and procedures and guidelines that you got to abide by, which for the better, because we don't want to have happen what happened back then again.
Yeah, no, it's definitely for the better. So, I don't want you to, take it the wrong way what I said when I say people need to. I mean, there are good, sometimes bad things happen to good people. You've probably heard that before. Okay?
True.
And it is true. And, but sometimes, sometimes when certain people mess those things, when they mess up the sandbox, is that what you're talking about?
I see what it did there.
When they tear down your sandcastle, then, it makes it harder for other people to put it back together in a proper manner.
Yeah, so... No.
Yeah, for sure. And not everyone that had a foreclosure or anything was put in a bad product, for sure.
Right.
I mean, it was a perfect storm, right?
Exactly.
The economy, GM going bankrupt, the mortgage process, everything was a perfect storm. So,
yeah, God, what a time!
I mean, there's tough times. It was tough times. So,
right.
Yeah, it was real tough. It was really fucking tough.
it was. I know from experience myself. It was tough.
But we're here now. Things are better.
Well, you asked me about mortgage rates, but you never asked Mike about what real estate might do this year.
So what's real estate going to do this year, Mike Mitchell?
It's a great time to buy, right? That's what every realtor tells you.
It is.
So I get asked this question every year about this time. And honestly, I don't know exactly. My broker has this, he always says the best economists are only right 60% of the time. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you what I think. So right now, because it's hard to say what's going to happen in the spring, right? And after 2020, I thought, I never could have predicted that after they freed everything up, that the market just took off. I mean, I thought it was going to be, oh boy, here we go, another crash. I thought the worst. They shut us down for a month and a half, no showings, all that, and it just took off. So it's hard to say, right? But I can tell you what I do know. Right now, it's still low inventory. I don't have stats handy, but I know Macomb County single-family homes, there's about a little over a month's supply of inventory. Clair Shores, my target city where I do a lot of business, my sphere of influence, they have under a month's supply of homes. So inventory is going to remain low. But what happens in the spring, it's hard to say. Is there going to be a big, of course, always there's more in the spring, but so, for instance, there's like 53 homes on the market in Clair Shores right now. Come April, is there going to be 70, which would be better, right? Or is there going to be 100? So it's hard to say. But we do think overall, everything I've seen the stats is going to remain a seller's market. Just is it going to be as extreme as last year? It's hard to say. So, yeah. But I definitely think it's going to be a seller's market still. It's not going to change, I don't think, for a couple of years. Just low inventory, lack of housing, so...
Yeah. I know. I've discussed with friends of mine and just others in your profession, and yeah, it's. I hear it all the time. It's still a seller's market. Like
I feel confident saying it's going to remain a seller's market.
Yeah, and I know, like, just even seeing like near where I live, when there's a house up for sale, it will go like that.
Yeah,
going like.
What I'm noticing now is the new. Of course, it's always the new ones, the hot ones that are nice. In good shape, priced right. Of course, they go multiple offers still, or they go super quick. But I've seen a few more sit on the market a little longer, even though inventory's low. Like I said, there's like 53, I think I looked this morning in Clair Shores. There's probably I'd say probably 20 of them that are kind of either need a lot of work. I don't want to say junk, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so, well, I was actually gonna kind of prelude to that. Is it because they're
they're sitting there. So when the new ones come out, they're super hot. They're still going in less than a week, and many times with multiple offers.
Okay, yeah. So you heard it here first. It's a seller's market still. It's gonna remain that way for a while. So keep saving, keep those hopes and dreams alive, people. You will get a house at some point.
Well, hey, if I could chime in.
Yeah, please.
Because, earlier we talked about interest rates. So, interest rates, if in case you don't know, will have an effect on inventory. Okay? And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people that would probably list their homes for sale if they knew that they could, get a better rate when they go to buy their next home. It doesn't matter if they're buying a bigger home or downsizing. Mike brought it up earlier. We've been spoiled for a long time. People are used to those low interest rates. So it's shocking to them saying, hey, my current home now, I've got 2.5% on my mortgage. Why should I get rid of that mortgage, sell my home, and then buy a home and then get a rate like close to 7%? Okay, so just even, in their mind, it's shocking to them. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because if rates do come down, it will ease a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines waiting to list their home. So we might get a little bit more inventory. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's going to change the fact that it's going to be a seller's market, but
not drastic, but it'll help. It will
help.
Sure.
It will help. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because Mike made a comment earlier, just a quick short comment, that it's a great time to buy a house. Well, it is. Anytime's a great time to buy a house, depending on your situation. And a lot of times people don't dig into the numbers really that deep. I mean, that's what I'm here for. That's why mortgage professionals are around, to help you sort through the true numbers. What I mean by that is, I have no problem taking the time showing someone numbers, with equity that properties have gained over the last couple of years. It's been huge, especially here in the metro area. I mean, I heard a blurb the other day that here in the metro area, and I might not have this exactly right, but I think appreciation, we beat out like one of the real hot markets for years.
Yep,
like Miami or something like that. We beat them out last year.
Detroit included. Detroit and Metro Detroit. I don't have the exact numbers, but I saw that.
And appreciation of value. So people forget about that homes over the last few years have been appreciating, and they're going to continue to appreciate probably a little bit better because of supply and demand. They're going to a little bit better than average in the short-term future. Once again, we don't know how long, but the point is that you have to calculate that in when you're looking at buying a home. So yeah, I might get a higher interest rate now, but I'm going to build equity quicker if I buy a house. Are you factoring that in? Okay. And are you factoring in the fact that we've probably hit the max for interest rates, mortgage interest rates, so they have nowhere to go but come down. Like I said, they're going to come down. How quick is yet to be seen. But when they do come down enough where it's beneficial for you, then you can always just refinance and get the better rate. Okay. Obviously, we're going to look at the cost to refinance. There's always cost to refinance and everything else, but we're going to look at the whole picture. But that's just it. Take the time to get with a professional, have them work those numbers out for you so you can see the people that are out there buying homes now. That's why they're buying homes, is because they're either having a professional show them the numbers and they're seeing the true light, or they're just trusting what they're hearing, the truth, and they're going out and doing it.
Right. There's people that need housing. There's growing families,
Exactly.
People are buying and selling houses every day still. There's the growing family that needs a bigger house.
And
it doesn't matter that interest rates are 7. They need a bigger house.
And there's some people that need to downsize.
Correct.
Okay? They need to
some
downsize.
Some people relocating. I just sold a house to a gentleman relocated here from another state, military. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, this is great. This is why we're here. That's why they're here, people. They're the ones that are in the know, the professionals. You got to get with them. My last dark side question I have for you. I'm not going to go into the whole dissertation. If watch the previous episodes where I talk about the backstory of this. So I'm just going to summarize it real quickly. Are either of you familiar with the blues musician Robert Johnson?
I'm not.
Sounds familiar. But...
Okay. So Robert Johnson was a blues guitar player back in the 20s and 30s. So he was the first to enter the 27 Club, the infamous 27 Club. And so there's a myth and a lore that went around that for him to become such a prodigy and really good at what he did, the song Crossroads, which was made famous by the band Cream in the 60s, was originally a Robert Johnson song. So the story goes where he basically met up at a crossroads in the Delta, Mississippi Delta, and made a deal with the devil to become the greatest guitar player in the world. Well, in turn, he became the greatest guitar player, but it came with a price, his life. So the question, and now just because it ended with his life with him doesn't necessarily mean there are other factors that can go into it. So my question to the both of you, if the devil approached you and said, Dave, Mike, I'm going to make you an offer you would be foolish to refuse. I could make you the top of the top in lending and in real estate, and just real estate in general. You would be world renowned. You would have famous celebrities wanting to go with you in their deals.
The devil's here.
He sure is. What up? Yeah, we're BFFs. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so would you take that deal? Would you make the deal with the devil in the sense that you would become the greatest in your industry, but it does come with a price? Would you take it?
You want the answer simple? No. Right? Of course not. Catholic boy. And I'm already great, so there's my answer.
Professor?
No, not me. I mean, that's just it. I mean, I'm happy with where I am.
So I want to ask you both the same question here. When you are not making the moves that you're doing for yourself and selling real estate, whether you're helping finance individuals to getting that home purchase, or whether you're the one that is dealing with the home purchase and all that, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time, in your downtime? What are your hobbies and activities you enjoy most? So whoever wants to go first.
All right.
Go ahead.
Good. Detroit Lions, baby.
Go Lions.
Avid Lions fan, season ticket holder. Love the Lions. Been supporting them for a long time. Since I was a kid, yes.
Even during the perfect season.
Yep, I was there. I was there at the perfect season. I love the Lions, man. This is a great year. Go Lions. I like playing cornhole, having a craft beer with Walter and David occasionally.
That's right.
Enjoying things in all the outdoor activities in St. Clair Shores.
And Professor Underwood, what about you?
Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Yeah,
Goff we trust.
Yeah, I am a Lions fan. Nowhere near the level of Mike Mitchell, but and part of this because I'm not originally from Michigan, but I've been here for about 30 years now, maybe in Michigan. So I'm just a sports fan all around. I support all the Detroit teams. I happened to call Mike, and he was at the Red Wings game last night. So I'm like, oh, sorry, that's important, dude. I'll talk to you tomorrow. But yeah, love trying to catch sporting events when I can, whether it's on TV, live, and love music. All kinds of music. I like to say I was a musician in my former life. So when I was younger, used to strum a little guitar and play a little bass and even play around on the keys a little bit. But that was when I was younger. To this day, I still have some really good musician friends, including you, Dr. Hooper.
Me?
But I'll always try and support people I know that are playing whenever I can. As far as outdoor stuff, that's not really me a whole lot. As far as especially in the winter, which to this day I'm trying to figure out why I'm here in Michigan. I mean, I know why I'm here, but I mean, Michigan's cool. I like all the seasons, whatever. But this is my least favorite season is winter. But I get through it. I've been getting through it every year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's rough. Like I get it.
Yeah. Other than that, I love spending time with family. I'm an old fart, so I do have grandkids, and they're young, and try to spend time with them, spend time with my kids, and even like to throw in a little bit of time with my wife once in a while.
All right. Love it. So I want to know what your big goals, your big accomplishments and achievements you want to attain for 2024. What does that look like for the both of you? So whoever wants to go first.
You said goals for this year?
Yeah.
Go Lions.
Super Bowl, baby. That's my
Oh, wait.
goal.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's one game at a time.
Yeah, well, one more to go.
One more to go.
Goals. I've of course had a business plan. I mean, nothing crazy. Another successful year. Just keep doing what I'm doing, enjoying life, selling real estate, enjoying my family, everything here in the great state of Michigan.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Professor?
I've been doing this mortgage thing for 25 years, so I love what I do, and I love just helping. The biggest thing I love is just helping first-time home buyers, buy their first home. And so I'm just looking forward to looking forward to the opportunities that are going to come up this year for me to help some people, buy their first home. It doesn't matter how old they are, right off the top of my head, in the second half of last year, I helped someone that's a year older than me, and I'm going to be 61 here shortly. I helped
No way.
a lady. Yeah, man. I know I look like I'm 15, but no. I helped someone that was a year older than me buy her first home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
So
Yeah, not all first-time buyers are in their 20s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's just I'm just out here, man. My services are available. I'm just trying to help people out, man.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's why, the both of you are highly esteemed in what you do in your profession. People trust you. They go to you for all of their real estate needs. So that's awesome. So to segue into what I call one of the other most important parts of this show is there any way that people can reach out to to the both of you? Do you have a phone number, email, social media, a website? How can people reach out to Dave Underwood and Mike Mitchell for their real estate needs and questions?
For me, it's just best to just give me a call or text my direct cell number. I think I pretty much advertise it everywhere, but that number is 248-219-3457. That's just the best way. My email is my initials, DU loanguy@yahoo.com, DU loanguy@yahoo.com, or just look me up. You can Google David Underwood mortgages. You'll find me.
And what about you, Mike Mitchell? How can people reach out to Mike Mitchell?
Real easy. Call or text 586-291-2652. Website MikeMitchell.realtor. Facebook @Mike Mitchell Realtor.
I love it. Well, I gotta say this has been a lot of fun. I've been wanting to get you two on a show here for a little while, but we finally did it, and I'm excited to do more with you. There may or may not be a show with Mike and Dave surfacing here in the very near future. So, just keep your eyes and ears open out there in the digital realm. So, we'll keep you posted on that. Thank you both. Dave Underwood, Mike Mitchell, Top Flite Financial, Berkshire, Hathaway, Home Services, Key Realty, St. Clair Shores, Michigan. It has been a pleasure to have you both on the program. I'm looking forward to working with the both of you even more this year. And
thanks for having us, man. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, David, too.